Made it to Sand Dunes National Park. Son of a... There's a car coming and I don't like recording in front of people. Made it to Sand Dunes National Park. It's a little snowy right now though. We're hoping that the snow melts off by tomorrow because I want to go sandboarding. And you can't really go sandboarding if there's snow on the sand. For today though, I think we're just going to leave it as is. I'm feeling sore. I'm ready for a nap, I think. I couldn't resist and ended up doing the Zapata Falls hike, which was right next to the campground. It was right there. A little extra elevation, not too much distance, but totally worth it. The falls were awesome. Little like ice cave. It was a bit slick. I had to be careful. The snow was still out from this morning. For now, I think we're gonna go back to the campsite, chill for the rest of the day. I might head back in there and enjoy for a little. It's a very meditative spot. Let's do it. I'm gonna put the phone away before attempting that, so. So we finally got settled in. Like an idiot, I didn't realize that this campground took reservations. And then at the last second, I realized that and went to go reserve the spot I was in and realized it was already reserved for the night. As I stare into the eyes, looking back at me on the screen, I realized what a fool. What a fool. What a fool is looking back at me. All right. We'll check in the morning. Had to wait to do the update this morning because it has been a rough morning. Did not get a great sleep last night. It was very, very cold. But it is a fine and dandy morning out on the dunes of Great Dunes National Park. Stopped by Oasis to check about the board rentals. There was still some snow out. There is still some snow out. So they said they might open at 12. We'll check back in later. But for now, I'm just gonna hike the dunes. These are actually the biggest sand dunes in North America. They remind me a lot of the ones out in Death Valley, just bigger. Good place to lose my mind for a little bit, I think. And then we'll head back down. Maybe see if we can get a board for this afternoon. If not, I gotta play around with my plan anyway. I was planning on staying up in the Rockies. They've gotten a ton of snow. We'll see though. For now, we're just gonna get on this hike and enjoy the wonders of Colorado. What's crazy about this park is there's not really trails. In the dunes, they shift and move throughout the year. So there's not set destinations. That being said, my strategy was head out along the edges of the dune a little ways to where it was less steep and then climb up this way. So I think I found my ridge. I think I'm gonna try to snake up here. But it is absolutely nuts. It's a desert in the middle of the mountains. There's very specific weather and geological conditions that have led to the dunes just sitting at the bottom of the mountains here. But it leads to this really crazy kind of environment where you're walking through these huge, enormous dunes, the biggest dunes in North America. And then you also have these alpine mountains just sitting right on the edges there. So it's this interesting kind of vibe. It's kind of like the mullet of Mother Nature. So I've made it up to that initial peak that I was looking at kind of from the valley. We made it up there, and I'm not exactly lost. I just don't know where anything is. The National Park Service says I'm looking for a tall pyramid star-shaped dune. And I'm going to be real, they all look like that to me. The hiking is kind of nasty. The sand, you're sinking in it constantly. You can see all my footsteps coming up here, but so sometimes you're in like quicksand-like conditions. Other times it's nice and solid and you find a nice ridge line. So we'll wander over that way. Yeah, if this is the last, if the last you hear from me, just know that I'm happy I died in the sand dunes. Look, you can see the sand was so loose here that my tracks just disappeared. Oh, that was a tiring one. It's interesting, this is a very variable hike. Variable conditions. You're kind of dipping down into these valleys and then you pop back up somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm over here now. All right, general direction's there. So you're kind of like, it's almost like a boat where you start drifting one way and you have to redirect to the other way when you come back up. I can also tell you this much, I'm far enough back here that the potential to lose my mind is steadily increasing, and it's not the ridges that you lose your mind on. It's not when you're at the top of the world and you see the beautiful views and you can see everything and see where you are. It's down in the little valleys and the pockets where you're all by yourself and the wind dies down and it's just you and your footsteps. That's where you start to lose your mind. Might be a metaphor for life somewhere in there. So we have officially made it to the peak of the highest sand dune in America. That was a trek. Whew. I'm feeling it. Glad to be up here and get a break. Definitely worth it though. I mean, check out just what we got to look upon there too. Just nuts to be thinking like underneath me is just 700 feet of loose sand. That's all that I'm standing on right now is 700 feet of loose sand. It's pretty crazy idea. Also, I would just like to point out too, everybody is saying the Star Dune is named that because it has 4 of these little guys here. I count 1, here's 2, there's 3, where's the 4th? I mean, I'm like positive that this is Star Dune because I'm at the highest point and it's like, there's nowhere that's higher. I can see that from up here. But this is only 3. There's not 4. It's not a star. This is like every other dune here, which is very confusing. We are going to take a quick break. We'll rest. We'll refit. I got to figure out my route back to the car as well. High Dune, the second tallest one, and the tallest appearing one from the parking lot is right over there. I did kind of want to see the top of High Dune, but I am feeling it after 6-7 days of road tripping. So we'll figure that out, and I'm saying I'm going to figure it out. I know who I am. I'm going through the dunes. I know what I'm going to do, so. This is cool. I didn't realize this on the way up, but this little layer right here is just hiding snow right underneath of it. So the sand must have gotten pushed up over the snow, but look at that. You guys know I love these shots, and this is just the perfect national park for it. Oh, I love the slow zoom out. Slow zoom out, metaphorizing how small in the universe we are. Whoa. Might be getting a little bit dehydrated here. Should have brought a little bit more water. So I'm on my way down from Hidden Dune, which is just up there. Park is definitely getting more popular in the afternoon now that it's warmed up. Ton of skiers, snowboarders, and sledders, all sand version, but it looks like fun. I'm trying to debate whether or not I want to stick around here a little bit in the morning to do it. It does seem like fun and like just sending it down, something like that. I don't know, what do you guys think? I kind of like them better without snow on. I like them better bare. All right, time to go. See you later, ladies. So I'm having a bit of a weird time. I think the road trip blues are definitely hitting. Fortunately, I've heard that sandboarding is a good antidote to that. So we headed out to the sand dunes. We're gonna hit some sandboarding laps before heading out of town. Not sure how ambitious I'm gonna get with it, but we're gonna give it an attempt. All right, discoveries after my first attempt. I'm gonna need a much steeper hill. Looks like we're heading up higher. All right, I'm thinking this looks like a perfect practice run. Let's give this a try. I'm gonna put the phone away though. All right, okay. Let's go for a turn. Oh yeah, mama, woohoo! Look who can turn on a sandboard, woohoo! That is cool. Oh. All right, so that first run went well. There we go, our second run after the first one failed. There's a slightly steeper and longer hill right next to where I'm at with a little get out, not too much elevation. You can come around. I think that's part of the trick is finding a nice hill to climb up, but yeah, I can carve that out. All right, let's give this a try. Whoa. Ah. Whoa, jeez. Oh, it's a little funky. Question is, how do I get back up? It's kind of more like a sled than a snowboard. Like you're not really carving, you're kind of just guiding. Might need some more wax too. Whew. Whew. They said it doesn't work too well in wet sand, and that is a little wet. Well, I found a slope with much finer sand that appears to be dry. Don't have a ton of time today to be doing all the sandboarding that I want to do because I got a bunch of driving to do. Got a few hikes that I also want to hit. So I think this is going to be my last run, but I've been eyeing this girl up. The sands whispered to me her name, and it's Big Kahuna. My goal is to ride Big Kahuna, ride the curve around, and do no walking. Just shoot right up there. Maybe hit a sick 360 at the end. By the way, you can see where I crashed over on the other hill right there. All right, let's give it a try. Carve a little bit. Whoa, sank a little bit. Woo! So that was sandboarding at the Great Dunes National Park. To me, it kind of felt like snowboarding in spring conditions, like really thick snow. So I think we're gonna drive all the way through Colorado today. Ended up staying at Flaming Gorge recreational area. And I've driven through there before, and I've meant to check it out again because it is a beautiful area. So we're gonna do that tonight instead of staying up in the Rockies. Oh my goodness gracious, what the f was that? I'm gonna clear my throat. It's a bit breezy here at Twin Lakes in Colorado. I'm up in the mountains somewhere in the Rockies. Wanted to grab a small hike kind of to break up the trip today. I might do that a few times today, but honestly, the body is starting to break down after 7 days of doing this. It has been a butt kicker. I don't know if you can hear the defeat in my voice. It's like I saw the lake, it's beautiful, but I'm defeated. Normally, a lake in some mountains like this, a guy like me, he can't pass that up. Come on now. But today we're passing it up. There's a good looking cantina where they had some great looking fajitas, and my need for fajitas is overriding my need for the beauty of alpine Coloradan lakes right now. Well, we made it to home for tonight. Flaming Gorge recreation area. It's beautiful. Beautiful sunset, very windy, which is kind of rough, but I don't know, it's weird. I always get in these moods at the end of big trips like this because it's, you know, you've been traveling so far and you kind of ascended space and time for a week, saw all these beautiful spaces, saw all these amazing places, and then you just go back to regular life, which is, I don't know, it's just a weird sensation every time. I'm not sure. I think that road tripping might come pretty close to the natural state of the soul. One of these trips I might spend too long out here and just end up getting stuck out here forever, stuck on the road forever. We'll have to see.